So I'm like the lead person who thinks Leona is the best deck ever, and she is. So I kind of want to talk about her, talk about why I think she's so broken, why the color combination is so broken, why everything about her makes her just the best deck to ever exist. Um, I think a great intro into like how Misfortune's gonna work and how you
Misfortune.
play the deck. Okay, I'm just gonna get on you. Leona. Why Leona is so broken and why Leona is the greatest deck to ever exist. A great analogy for it is she's kind of like if you took Set and then you added um Lee Sin on top of it, but for free. And that's exactly what it is. She has an effect with the stuns that just make her unit super hard to kill, and then she gets a buff on top of it, which just makes every card you want to play have way more value, which is great for a mid-range deck like hers. So yeah, that's Leona. Getting into her legend. Never mind, not her legend. I'm so good at this, guys. Getting into her playstyle. She's a mid-range deck, so she just has a lot of cards that are just individually good, and can just do a lot. Like her units, they're really hard to remove because they all have like 4 or more might base, and then they go up to like 5, 6, 7 might, for a very low cost. So they're just so strong individually. And then her other cards are mainly removal that can take rid of any threats that are actually going to try to threaten her units. Thank you, Janai.
So yeah, I think one of the biggest strengths that Leona has, and one of the reasons why I think she's so good, is just how efficient she is. Like all of her units, for what you're paying, give you just so much advantage, and I think it's really, really, really easy for you to just a lot of the times out advantage your opponent just based off me saying, hey, I'm gonna play this 4 for 9. I'm gonna play this 4 for 4 with that stuns and gives me a buff. I'm gonna play this 4 for a 5 that has ganking, deflect, shield, all of this. Like your units are just so much more efficient than your opponents.
Yeah, and that way we can generate value throughout the game. So now actually going into our legend, right? I know what I'm talking about. Yeah. Huh?
No.
No. I swear we're gonna talk about the legend. Color combination. Our colors are really good. I think they're the best colors for just pure options. Yellow has, I mean, like perfect units, absolutely perfect. They all benefit off buff, which is something she's getting for free. They all benefit off stun, which is awesome. They all on their own are strong. They just give her great units. They also give her insta kills on units. Decks like this can struggle against like really tall units. Like obviously we have like stun and stuff to get rid of them, but tall units can sometimes like block us off if we don't have the stun or when they're attacking us sometimes. Also, like just really high attack, like attacking units that just get bigger, like Darius. Sometimes you just want to kill those outright to protect your units, and the insta kill remove is insane. Green has stun, which is super important to the deck, obviously, and it has the best protection ever, so that our units just never die. Specifically, Leona never dies. And this whole deck, as you're gonna slowly see, is gonna rely on green and yellow to make Leona just the best unit ever designed. Because she's the best unit ever designed. That card is bananas,
Yeah.
bonkers, crazy.
All right.
Uh, yeah. So now we're getting into the legend. This legend is just pure straight value. A lot of people like think this legend is like mediocre. And I think the reason that this comes from is that we're kind of playing her a little wrong. The best way, or most consistent way, to put stuns on something at the moment is to swing with Yellow Leona. That is just the most consistent way to do it. Every other way requires you to draw more cards, to consistently put stun. If you play this deck defensively or as a whole deck, you're just not going to be able to put stuns as much as you should. And you're going to feel like this legend ability is just pure blank because you're getting like 1 or 2 buffs a game. When you play her aggressively to support the already great stun package you have in just Yellow Leona, she gives you just free buffs all the time. And it also allows for Yellow to see play with because she gives buffs for free, which allows cards like Set and Yora to really shine with making those units actually strong like they should be. Unlike some other decks can't really take pure advantage of those.
Yeah.
I really like her legend for that.
So kind of like with the analogy that we brought up before, the reason why it's like Set Leader's effect is because, hey, when you're swinging at a battlefield and you stun a unit, because I feel like most players, most decks, like Yi and stuff, are only putting 1, maybe 2 units at a battlefield just in fear. Like that, maybe it's not fear, but it's like they try to put as minimal effort into these battlefields as possible, which is a valid strategy. But Leona really punishes this. And like, if you wanna battle trick your guy to be higher than whatever I'm swinging with, that's great. My units don't die; they just come back.
Yeah.
And you're also just getting a free buff from it. So like, kind of like Lee Sin, but you don't have to pay the 1. You just inherently get it, especially with your Leona card. And your units just don't die most of the time, unless they have like a spell or whatever, or they swing into it. Which even then, if they try to swing into it, well, you're playing green, you have all the combat tricks in the world.
Yeah, it's amazing. Her leader effect just really helps the deck shine. And the real thing that helps the deck shine is what we're talking about next, the champion. The deck simply doesn't exist without the champion. I'm going to mention this card literally every single time we talk about this deck. Every other slide, I'm just going to mention that Leona the champion exists, because she's just that busted. Starting off with a absolutely extraterrestrial ability of stunning every single time she attacks is so strong. I just can't describe how strong that feeling is. This champion is busted just because of that. If your opponent is keeping 1 unit at a battlefield, like most players are, they insta-lose this card. Like, there's nothing they can do about it besides remove it with like damage, and just like, you just attack with it. If they have 1 unit there, you don't have to spend anything to usually get over it, and you get a free buff on top of it, so you just always get a free buff. This makes her have a really high value because it just swings over things it shouldn't be swinging over. Because first of all, it always swings over something with 4 might. That's just for sure. And now that you're giving her a buff, she always swings something over with 5 might. For example, Master Yi's Poro. Master Yi plays out a Poro turn 1, and that 5 might Poro walls off a lot of decks from the game. Or Darius sitting at a battlefield is 5 might. That can wall off some decks from the game, especially with Kaiser's removal. This, you can't wall off this champion because she's going to stun it, and then she gets a buff, and then she's too big for, she's just big enough for the unit. Because she never has to deal with ties, she just gets over it, and even if she loses, she just gets sent back to base. She's a super sticky champion that always is generating value. It's so strong. She's just the most important card of the deck. The entire deck is literally just built to shine on this 1 champion card because that's strong. I think she should be in every yellow deck to ever touch the game because of just how much value she generates on her own, especially if you're playing with the yellow game plan of just swinging with a couple units. Like, she just goes so well in everything.
Yeah. Most importantly, she does all of this while costing 4. Like what?
Yeah.
4 and a power. It's like, and it really shows like Leona's game plan, where it's like, hey, I'm just gonna play these units that are extremely cost efficient. Like, I'm paying 4 and a power for a 5 attacker that stuns and a 6 defender. What? I'm paying 4 for a 5 attacker, 6 defender, deflect, ganking person. I'm playing 4 and a power for a 9 tank. Like you're paying such little amount for how broken your units are, and kind of like what we said before, it's just, hey, it gets to a point where I'm spending way less of my rooms, I'm spending way less of my resources onto capturing your battlefields, onto holding these battlefields that eventually it will catch up to you.
Yeah, that's what this deck aims to do, and this champion, it's just perfect for it. So she's basically the heart and soul of the deck. Deck doesn't exist without her. Every other card is literally just to make this unit better. So next is the battlefields. Yeah, the battlefields. The best thing about a mid-range deck like Leona or Master Yi is that they can build their battlefields best to counter what's going on in the meta, because they just don't care what battlefields they're playing on. The only like really good one in this deck is Windstep Hillock. I can't not play this card. I feel like it's really insane because it gives Leona ganking, which is absolutely busted because Leona's worst aspect is that she doesn't have any sort of like actual movement on her own. If you want her to go faster or attack more, you have to like do some weird stuff with your Sig spell or with like your Zonias, something like that to get her back to base or to move her with some other card. And there's not enough of that for it to be super consistent. Wind-Stepped Hillock makes that super consistent because it's on a battlefield, and it's super easy to take this battlefield from your opponents because your units take it for freaking nothing because they stun everything. It's an amazing battlefield, 100% play. The other battlefields, you can kind of decide. Most of all, we want to focus on attack, and we want to keep Leona alive. So the battlefields I'm playing are Dreaming Tree and Obelisk of Power, besides Wind-Step. Dreaming Tree is an example of a battlefield that's like supporting keeping Leona alive because we're going to use battle tricks on her most of the time. We're going to use our Zonias on her, etc., etc. And Dreaming Tree is going to like accentuate that by giving us a free card draw on top of it, which is nice because sometimes this deck can go a little low on resources, never terrible though. So Dreaming Tree helps with that a lot. And Obelisk of Power just helps us go a little faster so we can protect Leona, and it gets our Leona out a little faster so we can attack quickly. So I really like these battlefields. Hollow Tomb is something I've thought about a little bit because Leona sometimes can die, especially in the Kai'Sa matchup. The literal only reason I'm not playing it is because it kind of feels hard to hold against Kai'Sa, and that's the main thing we have it in there. If I like feel like we can hold in the Kai'Sa matchup sometimes, I would definitely think about it because they remove Leona instantly if they know what they're doing against this deck.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's the battlefields. Yeah, not much to say on those. Merc core cards are pretty good. I'd like to talk about a couple of these really specifically. Rune Prison is a card that is made, once again, way better by having Leona in the deck. Leona gives a free stun to anything on attack. So that means you can hold this card for when you actually need it. In a lot of like the defensive versions of this deck, you have to use Rune Prison on attack, on defense. It has to hold so much value with only one card. In this deck, since you have basically Rune Prison for free in a Leona, it makes your Rune Prisons be able to stay in your hand and always be used as a strong defensive tool so that your opponent really struggles to conquer your battlefields. A lot of times I have this card up in my hand and it's what's keeping me from losing the game. This card stuns, gives one of your units like Set or Fiora a buff, which then makes them have shield or their tank go up or one of those things. And that's going to allow you to do so much more on defense. Rune Prison is such a great defensive card, and that's what it mainly gets to be used as a deck because we play Leona. If we weren't playing Yellow Leona as an aggressive unit to always get those stuns and buffs, we'd really lose Rune Prison's strong defensive abilities, and that would be really torturous for us. That would really suck. The two units really show how our deck just aims to play low cost, low to the ground, powerful units that benefit off of what Leona's trying to do. Give away buffs for free. Fiora becomes a 6 deflect ganking. We've talked about her a lot. She's insane. She takes over games on her own, just like Leona. Because once she has a buff on her, she's just a do-it-all champion. She defends pretty well. She attacks really well. She's amazing. Set also great attacker, great defender. As long as you have another buff unit with him, he gets like completely insane, especially when you're attacking with Leona. Because let's just say you play the Set, you let him get readied, and then you attack Set and Leona. You stun, buff the Set. Your Leona already has a buff, so now your Set is 8 might defense. 8 might tank with Leona stunning whatever is 8 might or more at their battlefields, so they usually can't get over the Set, so you lose nothing and they lose whatever you're able to kill. Especially with your extra spells, you're going to be able to kill a lot of stuff. That also is super great on defense, obviously, because you just have to make sure that they can't get over the number 8 and none of your stuff dies and all their stuff just gets pushed back. It's amazing. I love Set for that reason. He's been in the deck and he's been really showing in those aggro matchups, especially against decks like Kai'Sa or Darius. Imperial Decree is a game ender that I think is really strong this format. because tall decks are like the real issue, and decks that are putting like a bunch of big units out of battlefield are really hard to get over all the time. Impure Decree is a great game ender because A, it synergizes well with stun, and B, it can get over any size unit, which is something this deck has been looking for desperately. And I think it's really, really strong because you don't even need a lot of units for it to work. You could just swing like a Poro and that kills 3 units. That's crazy. That's a ton of value. So we're playing that as our game ender. And that's our core cards. For the deck list, if you can't believe it, this entire deck list is completely built around Leona. Defy is made to protect Leona. That's the only reason we play the card. I mean, it's also a great counterspell, but it's mainly used to protect Leona. Charm, use it to kill some units that are actually going to hurt your Leona, to protect Leona. You play Hidden Blade. You just hold it in your hand or at a battlefield to protect Leona. Your Discipline, you hold it in your hand to protect Leona. All of these cards are just Leona protection, and you just play all of them to make sure that your Leonas never die. And as long as your Leona doesn't die, this deck it generates so much resources. It's generating free buffs. It's generating card draw with things like Clockwork Keeper, with things like your battlefield that you can target your units. It generates a lot of aggressive pressure. With all your great attacking units, and your Zenith Blade. I think this is a great time to talk about Zenith Blade, because I think this card is like overly slept on. I don't know why. A lot of people say this card's too expensive, and I think that really just comes from playing a defensive version of the deck, I guess. I don't know why you would think this card is super expensive for what it does, especially in an aggro version of the deck. In an aggressive version of this deck, this card allows you to effectively take both battlefields with Leona most of the time, because Leona can usually take one battlefield on her own, and then you can Zenith Blade her to the other battlefield, or vice versa. And another thing that Zenith Blade can do is it's a super great defensive card, because let's just say they're coming at your battlefield and your Leona's stuck in a random battlefield. You can bring her over, and she's the stun from that is going to help you, first of all. And Leona is still a super great defensive unit. Obviously, she's not attacking, so she doesn't get her stun. But you can do that on attack. If your Leona's on another battlefield, you swing, so they do a battle trick, you can just stun whatever they battle trick twice. That's 2 stuns. That's usually going to get you that attack. It's a very high value card. There's even more plays you can do with it. It's insane. I think this card being called expensive is really wild, and I think it's just from people not moving Leona with it, because when you move Leona with it, the card just feels incredibly busted when you're stunning like 2 units for free. So yeah, I think Zenith Blade's
I think Zenith Blade is absolutely insane. It's just, it costs 3 and 2 power, which, yeah, that is kind of costly. But, like, think about it, like, what you're doing with it, right? When I'm saying, hey, I'm gonna swing a Leona here, you got anything? Okay, I'm gonna Zenith Blade, move Set. I'm gonna Zenith Blade, move Fior. I'm gonna get 2 stuns, I'm gonna increase the might of my attack by so much. Or literally the opposite. Hey, you're gonna take this battlefield. Well, no, I'm just going to Zenith Blade, move my Leona away. I'm going to Zenith Blade, move my Set in there. It just has so many options, and it's such a versatile card, and it just gives you a free buff. It gives you a free stun. Like, what it's actually doing, it's a move spell that's giving you a buff, that's giving you a stun. It's just such a high quality card that, like, there's no way we're not playing it, like, at all.
Yeah, I couldn't understand not playing it. We go 6 and 6 on the runes. That's fine. The sideboards are always up to regional area, where you're at, what people are playing. I'm playing a sideboard that's honestly really generic. I expect big decks, I expect Aurora decks, and I expect Kaisa. These side options are pretty much built to hit home on those areas. We're going to talk about them more in the side area, but that's basically what the side deck is for. You're probably going to want to build your side to focus on what is actually in your meta. Don't just
Alright, you gotta
copy a sideboard. Copy the sideboard that makes sense. Especially with this deck, which is... sorry. Okay. Cut for your sideboard. Play the sideboard cards that make sense for your area. Don't just play things because someone else is playing them. Try to understand why somebody's playing them. I'm playing this card for set. I'm playing this card. I'm playing Master Yi. I cannot speak right now. I'm playing
Yasuo?
the gear. Yasuo, sorry. I'm playing Yasuo for big, high might decks. You don't want to just play Yasuo if your local area is not playing any high might decks or your regional area is not playing any high might decks, because that's not going to go well for you, and that card's going to feel really bad. You want to play it when it makes sense, if that makes sense. And yeah, this deck is super focused on like, because sometimes it can like hard lose matchups or like kind of lose matchups. When you can side in cards to make matchups even more like favorable to you, and your cards have such high value, you're going to win a lot more. Like the Kai'Sa matchup feels really bad, but because we side well for it and we learn the matchup, we win it a lot in games 2 and 3 because we're practiced and ready for it. And that helps us a lot with keeping our win rate up. So we're gonna talk about the side. Nope, we're not. Next up is just talk about the buff synergy. I think the most important thing for this like a more aggressive conquer style version of the deck is this buff synergy. Leona plus Fiora and Set is so much value. It's like turn one you play like a 2 might unit, Toro. You play your girl that can attack and get some tokens. You want to play like a nice small unit, blah blah blah, nice good tempo play. And then you're just gonna start every turn curving out into these really stupid units that work so well with your Leona. Your Leona just works so well with Fiora, making her a 6, making her have deflect, making her have ganking. That is busted. And having that for literally just playing the Fiora and playing the deck how you want to play it. A lot of decks have to like get an arena bar in Set, and you have to like get the arena bar, and then you have to get the Fiora, get her tapped, then you can use it. With this, you just play the deck normally, and you're just gonna get the thing on get the buff on Fiora. Same thing with Set. You want to swing with Set and Leona at the same time, so they can do their like little tandem dance where your opponent has to have over 8 might to do anything. As you're swinging with them, you stun a unit, and guess what? Set gets the buff. This allows you to conquer battlefields really well with really strong units for such a low cost that you're able to hold up spells in your hand. The buff synergy pretty much what holds this deck together. Leona just has such a good backup crew with Fiora and Set. And talking about her spells, we get into her little green support package. This is all spells made to protect Leona. Rune Prison is like great defensive card. I went over it earlier, so I won't go too in depth. It's just you use this, stun whatever they try to battle trick, whatever big might unit they make, just stun it. That means they have to go wide and kind of support their whole board. Like I was facing a Darius opponent, and like he has to like use his like battle trick, his like one battle trick that gives like +3. Cleave. He has to like use that battle trick on like a token to make sure that and allow me to just kill his Vayne, because if he uses it on his Vayne, he knows that I'm just gonna stun the thing. And that makes so much value in this deck. Making sure that your opponent just never really can make the right options. And if they're only swinging one unit, it makes every game way too easy. It makes that Master Yi matchup way too easy. And when Kai'Sa is trying to be like defensive, it just, oh my god, it cures the matchup. Zhonya's Hourglass, once again, it's used to protect Leona. It also makes Leona a lot faster. So like if they attack into your Leona, and you have like nothing to protect, and you have like to move it out. Sorry, if you have and you just have to battle trick and like kill their units, right? Sorry. That means you have to move it out later. And if you have to move it out, that's another turn where it's not attacking. With Zhonya's, sure they get the point, but you can just swing back and take it. So that just makes Zhonya's it makes Leona even stronger because it makes her just a faster attacker. And the more she's attacking, the better this deck goes off. Discipline is really strong for protecting Leona and giving a draw 1. It's a reaction, so it plays around Kai'Sa spells. The green support package, it's just like Wind Wall. All of these are just to really protect against damage spells because they're the only thing that can really actually hurt your Leona. And make sure that Leona never dies, as long as, and maybe sometimes you support other units, but you make sure that Leona never dies so that you can just always slam face with her and always get free buffs. Yeah. And then for the siding patterns, I think, yeah, siding patterns, pretty simple. Against Aurora decks, we take out 2 Wind Wall, 1 Charm. Charm is all right into Aurora decks because you can like move their big unit back and then kill their big unit, and then you have battle tricks for their big unit if they want to swing it into you. So Charm works really well there. But it's not the best card. Like it's not like the most efficient, and Wind Wall is just dead. Like I don't know any Aurora decks that are playing huge spells, so I don't really feel like Wind Wall is the greatest play. On the other hand, we need salvage. We need salvage for Aurora. If they get to Aurora, I actually don't see how you win the game. I don't understand how you can actually win through 2 Aurora, especially in this deck, which is just like a value deck. Aurora having effectively 3 turns, like I can't outvalue 3 turns. I don't know how you're supposed to do that. So salvage is a great card, gives us a bunch of value, and it gets rid of their most valuable piece, which is their Aurora. Into big decks, you take out Set, because Set is just like, it's great against small decks, and it's all right into big decks that are playing like a few small units, but Yasuo is just infinitely better. Most big decks like Master Yi are keeping 1, maybe 2 units out of battlefields, and Yasuo swings for 14 with Leona, so that's just better than Set, because like Yasuo is like actually going to kill the units and make sure that they're dead. And they also, it's kind of like Set in the way that like it effectively has tank, because if they're going to let the Yasuo survive, they're kind of crazy, because that's just going to get so much value. Obviously, you would lose your Leona, but they're losing like their whole deck to this Yasuo. This Yasuo is going to go crazy, especially if you can keep up your stun spells to use with the Yasuo. Then you don't even have to put your Leonas in danger. It makes your Leonas even stronger. Yasuo is a great card into those Rampant Gotal decks. Now for our hardest matchup, Kai'Sa, and any deck that's playing like heavy removal. You have to get rid of Noxian, Drummer, and Poro, depending on the deck, obviously. I'm mainly thinking Kai'Sa here. Their biggest thing is they can really hit you with a Falling Star. It's usually not hitting these units, but it can, and they feel like they're just going to die to any regular spell anyway, which is usually dead. So I might as well get them out of the deck. I still want to keep some 2-cost units so I can have like a tempo play turn 1. But the real card that I really am trying to bring in here is Spirit's Refuge. It's a 2-cost card that gives a buff and gives every single one of my buff units deflect. With a deck that is throwing around buffs for free, all my units have deflect, which means they have to pay more to target any of my units. And I'm running 3 counter spells, a discipline, and a card that stops my units from dying, Zonias. That just means that their spells have infinitely less value. So if they're going to try to kill me with spells, they're just going to have to lose a bunch of runes, lose a bunch of tempo, and then eventually lose the game to that. So Spirit's Refuge is a great card. It really helps in the Kai'Sa matchup. Once I get this card on the board, I actually feel so commanding in the Kai'Sa matchup. I don't think I can lose it. It's insane. For tech options, I'm playing Shen. I'm not playing Shen, sorry. You can play it though. It's a defensive card in an aggressive deck. And I feel like that's really weird. It costs 1 less than Set, but Set has 3 more might effectively, which is, I don't think that's comparable. Also, the only like really good thing about it to me is the fact that it's a reaction, which means that you can hold it up in your hand and just react with it, not needing to like tap your runes out ever, because you can just hold it in your hand. And that feels really strong to me, because sometimes I feel like I really want to use a spell here and I'm stuck with a Set or something. So having the ability to hold up runes could be really strong, but I just don't really see it as that impactful. Our defense is already mighty strong. I don't think we need to really increase it that much. Meditation and other draw spells in green. Find Your Center. Find Your Center is the card I'm thinking of. Meditation is, I think, worse than Find Your Center, but I've been seeing more people play it because of, Hold Leona. I think that's why a lot of people are on Meditation. I don't think Meditation is that great, because you have to tap a unit, and in this deck your units move quite a bit. I hold sometimes when it's like very strong to do so, but I don't think I'm gonna lean in on that enough to actually play meditation, especially when Find Your Center exists. Find Your Center is great for this deck because this deck can sometimes feel like right on the edge of winning. It always feels like you're like close, your opponent's close to winning, you're close to winning, but you just have more value, so you just beat them. So Find Your Center can usually be played for 1 really easily, which is nice, and it's always getting you more runes, and having more runes to play with in this deck is super important because the deck does go low on runes sometimes, but you gotta play the deck and find the value, and then you're going to be perfectly fine. Find Your Center just makes it even easier, so I can 100% understand playing that card. Blitzcrank is an example of a card that is like actually looking for a spot in the list. It could find a spot in the list because it removes a unit, which is super important to this deck. It has tank to protect Leona even harder, and you can do it repeatedly. It just costs a lot. 5 and a power for a 5 might unit that is difficult to buff is really annoying. I don't really like that. I like its removal, I like its tank, but the fact that like you just can't really use its effect too often without losing its buff, which I feel like it really wants, that's kind of annoying. And Leona Zealot, she actually fights for a spot in the list really hard too, because she gives every stun unit -8. She feels like a really high value unit. I wish she just like, I don't know, costed 1 less or something. 6 and power for a 6 might unit that gives stuff -8 is pretty decent, and sometimes enters ready. It's decent, but our cards just have so much more value than that, and that's usually the runes we're like staying on. We're usually staying on 6 to 8 runes. Having to play her for like all of our runes doesn't feel very good, especially when that means you just can't get free stuns off something like the 2-cost stun card. It's really difficult. You have to, I mean, you can use Yellow Leona obviously, but I just feel like it's a bit of a hassle when you have the game ender.
Yeah, she feels like, yeah, you want her to be a game ender, but she's not quite there. Like she's,
Yeah.
if she was just a little better, like if she could actually end the game, like if she, I don't know, she kind of just feels a little bit worse than every single other game ender.
Yeah, just a little bit worse. And she would be such a good value unit, but she costs too much. Just costs too much. So I think that now we get into the game ender. This is the game ender we do play because I tried Leona a lot. She just wasn't really working. This game ender works incredibly well. This game ender is really strong. First of all, it just base swing a Poro out of random battlefields, do 1 damage to everything dies, your Poro dies, and then you just use your units that aren't ever dying to take both battlefields. It's awesome. That's really broken, but it gets even more broken because you have stun. When you have stun, you can just stun the unit so they don't deal damage to you, and then you just kill everything in the battlefield anyway. This combination makes it just such a strong card for clearing boards, clearing battlefields, taking both of them, getting 2 points for free. It's just really hard to beat. And if you're in a position where like you're losing, this is also a great defensive card because it's like, okay, if you're gonna swing 35 units at me, I'm gonna lose this battlefield no matter what I do. I have a game ender that can equalize the game state. You put a lot of effort in, and you lost all your units. That feels really strong to me. So I like Imperial Decree as an offensive and defensive card. And it's really good against ramp strategies because those can get such high numbers that they're just insufferable to get through. But when you can just do 1 damage to everything and kill it all, it really works. So yeah, I love this game ender. It's been performing a lot. It has a lot of applications in my testing. So I think a lot of people should be playing this, especially in decks that just don't generate enough units for the other game ender that gives +7 Grand Stratagem. So yeah, I think the game ender is pretty good. And I think that's it. Yeah. That is the Leona deck primer. Like and subscribe. Tell us what you think. Tell us if you think Leona's terrible, or what you think we could like do differently to make the deck list stronger. I really want Leona to be a really strong deck, so I'm trying to work on her and see if we can make her even better than she is right now.
Yeah. Make sure to like and subscribe, guys. Please comment if you want to see any different content, anything new. We will try to keep consistent and keep doing what we're doing.
Yeah, I think our next videos are going to be VODs of these decks.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, see ya.
See ya.